If you have been doing core work after having a baby, whether it's been 3 months, 3 years, or maybe even 30 years, and you're not sure if you actually are progressing or just going through the motions, this episode is totally for you because I'm going to be breaking down the 5 signs your core is ready to level up and the red flags that you're moving way too fast. Stay with me on this one. Feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or like you've lost yourself in the postpartum chaos? Whether you're 4 weeks postpartum, 2 years in, or done having babies, you deserve to feel like yourself again. Hey mama, I'm Val, a functional sports dietitian, postpartum fitness coach, and a mama who understands exactly what you're going through. Welcome to the Strong and Nourished Mama podcast, where you'll find simple, science-backed strategies to heal your core, rebuild strength, and restore your energy without the overwhelm. If you're ready to go from depleted to strong, nourished, and unstoppable, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, and welcome back to the Strong and Nourished Mama podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. If you've been tuning in week after week, what's up? Hello. I'm so happy that you're still with me. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Val Warner. I'm a sports dietitian with a functional medicine background. I'm also a strength coach, and I'm a mom. I'm a mom of a toddler, so I am in the trenches with you. So welcome. I'm happy to have you. Before we get into today's episode all about the core, I want to read a quick review from one of you. This listener said, "Easy listening, pointed and powerful. Have 30 minutes? Need help with nutrition, movement, or finding joy in taking care of yourself? This is the podcast for you. I love knowing that I can throw on an episode and will come away feeling clear on next steps and motivation to get things done." Thank you so much for taking the time to leave that review. Thank you for the kind words. I love that. I'm all about giving you clear action steps and motivation to take with you during the busy, busy week. I know how it is being a mom, and so that makes me super happy that that's what you're experiencing and that's how you feel. If you have been loving the podcast and you haven't left a review, I would love and totally appreciate if you could take the time, 2 minutes max, to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. I read every single one of them, and then I'll be able to share your review on the show. Now, I want to share something with you. I've shared it in the last couple of episodes. I've been building something behind the scenes, and I'm so excited to really give all the information to you right now. It is a structured progressive core program designed specifically for moms, wherever you are in your journey. So I am launching the Core Comeback Challenge. It's 4 weeks, 3 days a week. It lives in an app on your phone, so you can do this anywhere. It gets harder each week in a way that actually is intentional and safe. The program launches July 10th. So right now, if you head to wellnessbyval.com/core, you're going to be getting on the wait list and locking in a really sick discount before price goes up on July 12th. I'll share more information as we go through today's episode and again at the end. If you want more information, again, right now, head to wellnessbyval.com/core or head to the link in the show notes. Now, let's get into today's episode. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your core because this is what I see constantly. And I mean that. I see this every single week. Moms doing core work, moms doing core exercises, but they're not actually knowing if it's working. And it usually goes one of two ways. Either you're stuck doing the same basic shit forever and ever because you're maybe scared to push past it. Maybe you don't know what else to do. This is just what you've been doing since you were in high school. Or the other thing that I see is you're jumping into movements and to things that are honestly too advanced for where your body actually is right now in this moment in time. Maybe it's crunches, maybe it's intense ab circuits, whatever you saw on Instagram or TikTok last night. And then you wonder why you still feel weak or why you feel worse, why something just feels off, why you're not seeing the results that you're wanting. Now, neither of those is a program. Neither one of those is going to get you the strength and the flat, functional, strong core you're actually looking for. And really, yes, aesthetics, we want that. We want to feel comfortable in our bodies. We want to be able to have a flat stomach. But we also want to make sure that our core is actually functional for what you're doing today and tomorrow, next month, next year, and in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, okay? So that's something to think about as well. What you need is a way to actually know where you are right now and a clear path forward from there. That's what we are doing today. I want to tell you about a client I worked with. She came to me about 2 years postpartum. 2 years. And she told me, Val, I've been doing core exercises. I've been adding them into my routine whenever I go to the gym. I find something online and I've been doing that for months. I'm doing the movements. I'm going through the motions, but I don't feel stronger. I just feel weak. And this is so common. It's almost the rule rather than the exception. She was doing things like different types of planks, dead bugs, bird dogs, and stuff that looks right on paper, but she was doing them without any real connection to her breath, to her deep core, to her pelvic floor. She was just moving through the motions, hoping the motion itself would bring strength. And I talk about this all the time with clients. I had another client where she's like, I don't understand bird dogs and dead bugs because they're just like, they don't do anything. So then I talked her through bracing and breathing right then and there, and boom. And same with this other client that was 2 years postpartum. We didn't add in more exercises to what she was doing. We didn't make things harder. We actually went backwards. We went backward first. We worked on proper breathing and bracing techniques, which takes practice, how to actually connect her exhale to her deep core and pelvic floor, and how to brace correctly before she loaded anything. That's very important. And she totally felt it different instantly, just like my other client. She didn't notice it after 6 weeks of doing it. She noticed it instantly because for the first time, her nervous system and her deep core were actually communicating during the movement instead of just her performing basically the shape of an exercise, right? That's the whole point of today's episode. I want you to know the difference between doing core exercises and actually training the core, because those are two very different things. So let's get into why this is different postpartum after you have a baby, because I think a lot of moms assume core training is core training, that abs are abs, whether you had a baby or not. And that's not true because things change after you had a baby, after you were pregnant for 9 months, after you give birth, even if it's been 10 plus years. I see this with clients where their kids are in their 20s and 30s. And we're focusing on their core training and their core program and functional strength. This matters. Your core isn't just your abs. I want you to think of it almost like a soda can, okay? Or a canister. I don't drink soda. I have sparkling water. So I'm thinking of my favorite sparkling water bevy and that can, okay? So it's a canister. At the top, you have your diaphragm, which is a muscle. It helps you breathe. At the bottom of the can or the canister, you have your pelvic floor, a group of muscles like a trampoline. And wrapping around the sides, your deep abdominal muscles, your transverse abdominis, and a muscle along your spine. All four of those are working together to create what's called intra-abdominal pressure. And there's more muscles involved too. That pressure is what stabilizes your spine and your pelvis every single time you move, lift, breathe, sneeze, all of it. After pregnancy, that whole system has been stretched, compressed, and reorganized for a long time, right? The connection between your brain and those muscles, what we call the neuromuscular connection, it gets weaker because of this change. So even if the muscle tissue is technically still there, your ability to use it correctly often isn't. And that's something we have to focus on. This is exactly why just listen to your body is advice that fails so many postpartum moms. You can't listen to a system you can't feel yet, right? You have to rebuild the connection first. That's not optional. That is step one. So how do you know if you're ready to add more? Meaning heavier weights, higher impact, more advanced core work. Let's go through the 5 signs that you're actually not ready yet. And these are non-negotiables. If any of these show up, that is your body waving a flag at you. That's your body saying, stop it. Stop it right now. Not something to push through, okay? Sign number 1, you're leaking, you're peeing. Any urine, any pressure, heaviness in your pelvic floor during exercise or activities of daily living, that is your body telling you the load exceeds what your system can currently manage. I'm going to say that again. That is your body telling you the load exceeds what your system can currently manage. I cannot stress this enough. This is not normal. Even though it is incredibly common, I hear it all the time, even from girlfriends who haven't had a baby yet, they're saying, oh yeah, no, I pee my pants. And I pee my pants if I do box jumps, or if I do double unders, or if I do this particular exercise. That's common. It is not normal. Whether you've had a baby, whether you've not had a baby. We probably see it more after you've had a baby because of everything that your core and your pelvic floor have gone through. Common and normal are not the same thing. If this is happening, even just a little, that is your cue to scale back, not push through, okay? And this can change. Like, you can go through different phases. I've talked about this in episode 104 of the podcast. For me, like, if I'm going through a very intense workout and I don't focus on, in my warm up, I'm doing my core pelvic floor activation exercises, or if it's just a really intense workout and I'm pushing really heavy weight, then I may start to notice some urine leaking. I may start to pee a little, and that's where I stop and I take a step back. Now, sign number 2, you're bracing by holding your breath instead of breathing. First of all, you have to breathe. Come on. We don't want to be holding our breath. If you find yourself holding your breath to get through a rep, gritting your teeth, holding tension to force the movement out, bearing down, that is your body telling you the load is too much for your current capacity. A properly trained core breathes through effort. It doesn't hold air hostage to survive it, okay? Now, for some athletes, if you have progressed well, you're not having any of these types of symptoms, and you're strong, you're functional, you've been able to progress and lift heavy load and challenge yourself in your core, you may get to a point where you're lifting really heavy weight, where you are going to inhale, hold, brace, and then exhale as you're moving through the movement. But as a mom, most moms aren't going to be doing that, okay? And something that Kelly Starrett says all of the time, a famous quote from him is, if you cannot breathe in a position, you do not own the position. So if you're exercising and you're noticing you're holding your breath, that is a red flag. Sign number 3, your belly cones or domes in the midline. This is a big one, and a lot of moms don't even know how to look for it, or that is happening. If you see a ridge or a tent shape running down the midline of your stomach during a movement, sit-ups are a classic place this shows up, or maybe hollow rocks or hollow holds. You're definitely going to see it if you're pregnant and you sit up out of bed, right? That means your linea alba, the connective tissue down your midline, is taking on load that your deep core isn't ready to manage yet. We don't want the connective tissue to take the load. We want the muscles to take on the load. So if you see that, again, that's just your core and your body telling you that it isn't ready to manage that. When you see the doming, that's your sign. Regress the exercise immediately. For some moms, you may be able to, take a break, take a breath, let's reactivate the proper way, and then get into it, and then you may not have any doming anymore. That's okay. Sign number 4, you feel nothing in the right places. If you're doing a core exercise and you can't actually feel your deep core turning on, you're just going through the motion of the exercise without any real sensation of engagement. If any of that is happening, that tells me instantly you're not actually training the system you think you're training. You might be compensating with other muscles entirely. And that's a big one. That's where injury is going to come. And that leads us to sign number 5. You're sore in your low back, not your core. If your low back is the thing that's barking at you, like it's yelling at you after a workout, that's compensation, okay? Your stabilizers, the ones that are supposed to be doing the work for you, that are part of that core system, they aren't engaging properly. So your low back is picking up the slack. Your spine is basically doing everything, right? That's your body telling you something upstream needs attention before you add on more load. Now, there's a fine difference between those muscles, those stabilizers in your back being sore and tired versus the pain and that other soreness when you have in your lumbar spine that man, I was just using my back. Like I was just using my bones, right? Like I wasn't using my muscles. That's a big difference. Now, on the flip side, here's how you know you're actually ready to progress, okay? Sign 1, you can breathe through every single rep. Your exhale is driving the effort. You're not bracing, bearing down, holding your breath to muscle through it. Breath and effort are working together, not against each other. Sign 2, no leaking, no pressure, no heaviness, even on those harder movements and workout days. Jumping, running, heavy lifting, box jumps, burpees, jump ropes, whatever it is, your pelvic floor isn't sending up any warning signs. Sign 3, you feel your deep core engage, not just your superficial abs. There's a difference between that deep wrapping, almost corset-like sensation of your transverse abdominis when that turns on versus just feeling the surface tension of your six-pack ab muscles or even just the obliques. If you can feel that deep engagement, that is a great sign your nervous system is finally talking to the right muscles. You're pulling up from the bottom like you're zipping up a jacket. That is going to be a big, big sign. And that's an amazing sign. Sign 4, your current workout feels manageable. Not easy, but not a struggle. There's a difference between productive effort and white knuckling it, okay? If you're working hard, but you're not gritting your teeth and embracing just to survive the set, that's a sign your system has capacity to take on more. Sign 5, your form stays consistent all the way to your last rep. This is a big one. If your 10th rep, 12th rep, wherever you're ending, looks just like your first rep, same control, same breath, same alignment, and you're not compensating or collapsing to finish, that is a clear sign you're ready to progress. Here's the thing I really want to drive home. Scrolling Instagram and pulling 5 random core exercises you saw in someone's reel or someone's TikTok, it's not a program. It might feel productive. You're moving, you're sweating, you're doing core work, but without a structure behind it, you have no idea if you're actually progressing or just repeating the same starting point over and over. Now, progressive overload is the idea that you gradually increase demand on a muscle over time. This applies to your core exactly the same way it applies to your biceps or to your glutes. Real core progression follows an order. First, you rebuild breath. Then you rebuild tension and bracing, controlling that intra-abdominal movement. Then you add load. Then you add complexity in that order. Skip a step and you actually end up exactly where my client was, doing the motions for months, nothing to show for it, or worse, an injury. I want to share something personal here too, because this isn't just something I teach, it's something I've actually lived through. When I had my daughter, I started exactly where I tell you to start, with the 3 phases we actually walked through back in episode 104. So if you didn't catch that episode, after this episode, go back and listen to episode 104. I didn't rush. I took the time to just breathe, to reconnect with my core before I added anything else. I was in the hospital still, and I was focusing on diaphragmatic breathing and relaxation of my pelvic floor. And then I started to do these in different positions, and then I progressed from there. And because I did that early postpartum, by 2 months postpartum, I was able to go back to the gym and actually start using weights again. And I progressed from there. But here's what's wild. I'm almost 3 years postpartum now. My baby's going to be 3 in August. And there are still moments where this matters. And it's still going to matter forever. And of course, I plan to have another baby in the future. So it's going to matter again when I'm postpartum again. If I'm doing something really intense, maybe it's a really hard, fast HIIT workout. Maybe it's a high rocks workout. Maybe it's really like high intensity intervals on the treadmill when I'm running. Something high impact. And my pelvic floor gets tired during it because that's a group of muscles. They're going to get tired. I start to notice those same symptoms creeping back in. I start to notice the peeing. I'll start to pee a little bit. And for me, that's a sign that we just talked about, and I start to back off. Okay, I need to chill out. I need to not go as heavy. I need to make sure that I'm listening to my body, that I take the time to work on my warm up and to do more outside of that and progress back up to it. So it doesn't mean it's bad if I have any of those signs or if you experience any of those signs. It's just your body communicating with you, hey, we need to change something. So even now, 3 years in, I go back to the basics. I go back to breathing, the bracing technique that I teach you and my clients, the core activation drills. I do them before my workout, almost like a warm-up reset, and it makes a real difference every single time. I'm telling you this because I want you to hear it from someone who's not just teaching this from a textbook, right? This is a lifelong relationship with your core, not a 6-week fix. And that's exactly why a progressive, structured approach matters so much at 2 months postpartum or 2 years since you've had your baby, or like me, almost 3. I'm going to be doing this program too. This is exactly why I built the Core Comeback Challenge. It's not random moves pulled from the internet. It's 4 weeks of intentional, progressive core work. Week 1 looks different from week 4 because that's how you actually get stronger, the same way It worked for me, and the same way it worked for my clients that I work with once we have the foundation right. Every week is going to build on the last. It's on an app. You download it on your phone. You get to keep it forever. You get to go through it at your pace. And it's launching July 10th at a really reasonable price, but price goes up on July 12th. So head to wellnessbyval.com/core or the link in the show notes to get more information. If you have a question, you can send me a video ask about that. And then you'll be able to get on the wait list, lock in that discount so that when July 10th comes, you'll be able to access it, get it, and start the program right away. I'm going to be doing it with you. Okay, quick recap. 5 signs you're not ready to progress. You're leaking. You're bracing by holding your breath instead of breathing. Your belly cones or domes. You feel nothing in the right places. You're sore in your low back and not your core. 5 signs that you are ready to level up. You can breathe through every single rep. There's no leaking or pressure or heaviness, even on those harder movements and workouts. You feel your deep core engaged, not just those superficial abs. Your current workout feels manageable, not easy, but not a struggle. And your form stays consistent all the way to the last rep. Be sure to head to wellnessbyval.com/core to be able to get more information about this program so you can start to put this into work to build a strong, functional core. If this episode gave you some clarity on where you actually are in your core journey, share it with a mom friend who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to stop guessing and start progressing, the Core Comeback Challenge starts July 10th. Head to wellnessbyval.com/core. All right, stay strong, stay nourished. I'll see you next week. Hey mama, I hope you loved today's episode. If you got something out of it or simply enjoyed listening, would you please take 30 seconds to share it with another mom who could use the support? And if you haven't yet, I would be so grateful if you could leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. It truly means the world to me, and it helps the show reach more amazing moms like you. All right, time to go chase my toddler around. Stay strong and nourished, and I'll be back on Monday with another episode. Talk soon.